What's particularly significant about that is that the security guard, who was positioned right behind Senator Kennedy and slightly to his right at the time of the shooting, in fact owned an H&R 922 at the time of the shooting. Now, subsequent to the shooting, he originally had mentioned to authorities that he had sold the weapon a couple of months prior to the shooting. Mm-hmm. It was later found out, however, that he in fact sold the gun sometime after the shooting. So he owned that particular type of weapon at the time of the shooting.
Let me ask you about the police radio transmissions. What do those seem to reveal?
Well, the police radio transmissions that I was able to transcribe from the original 20-track logger tapes that the LAPD used indicated certainly the pandemonium, the excitement on the part of not only the bystanders. You can hear screaming in the background, all sorts of pandemonium at the hotel scene for those officers who were radioing into headquarters. But it also indicated the confusion and difficulty that the LAPD itself had in dealing with this tragedy in terms of multiple officers trying to transmit at the same time on the same frequency, et cetera. It certainly was a chaotic scene for everyone involved at the time.
Now, I don't believe either of you gentlemen deny that or would say that Sirhan Sirhan was not one of the shooters. You're just saying there would have been another one.
Exactly right. We certainly do not wish to exonerate Sirhan. Certainly he was there. He had a weapon. He pointed that weapon. He fired that weapon in the direction of Senator Kennedy. And that is obviously a grave offense. What we are saying, however, is that Sirhan could not and did not kill Senator Robert Kennedy, and that the bullets that did hit Robert Kennedy that ultimately caused his demise were from a different gun.
And are you saying that security guard was the shooter of the fatal bullets?
Well, we weren't there, and so other than the testimony that Dr. Joling mentioned earlier from the runner, our data does not pop out a particular name of an individual, but what our data shows, and certainly in correspondence with the physical evidence of Kennedy being shot from the rear as opposed to from the front, being shot at point-blank range as opposed to 3 feet or more away from the senator, which 12 or more witnesses had placed Sirhan's position to be. So it certainly decreases the possibility to the point of just being impossible that Sirhan could have shot Kennedy.
Let me take you back to the point that we first started with, and that was that there were injuries to other people that would indicate that at least 9 shots were fired. Why or how was the LAPD able to just cover that up or ignore it, or why hasn't that come out over all this time, or has it?
Well, it appears that they thought by making an hierarchical fight, by saying it didn't happen, it went away, but it didn't go away. And they just were flat out wrong to begin with, and they never would say anything differently. And they would not give any information to the public. They would give no records to the public. It took 20 years for the records to get out of the LAPD up to the California State Archives so others could look at it. And that's one of the reasons. The criminals just covered it up. That's all it was.
The thing, here's the one thing that puzzles me. It's been a good 10 days, I think, since you presented these findings. Maybe a little bit more than that, maybe a little less, but around there. Why hasn't there been more attention paid to this? I mean, this is one of those signature events that a lot of people remember exactly where they were. I just did when Robert Kennedy was shot or when they heard the news. Why hasn't this attracted more attention?
Well, there has been a good deal. We were on Good Morning America with, that was last Thursday, I believe.
Yeah.
We've been on Coast to Coast. We've been on the David Wells show out of Texas. We're going on tomorrow with another station. We've been up in Connecticut. We've been invited to the Kaiser Institute in Louisville, Kentucky. We've been invited to Duquesne University. There has been a great deal, but the news has always been contra to anyone finding anything different than the official version. And, for example, even the other day, the New York Times came out with an article, and then they put a last paragraph saying other forensic scientists dismissed these theories, saying the analysis is flat out wrong. If they could name one other forensic scientist in the world who said that, I'd like to know who it is, because nobody else in the world has done it other than Phil Prague.
So they're just taking a look at what you did and discounting it simply by that, not by doing it themselves. But once again, kind of back to this question, this was something. Then the reason there were not all those conspiracy theories, as there were really from the very beginning of the John Kennedy assassination and even Martin Luther King. Because the information wasn't there. That's why you didn't see this major, and I don't want to say industry, but this sizable body of doubt as to whether or not the gunman, Lee Harvey Oswald, acted alone. It's just because nobody had any more information?
I'm quite sure that's correct. The information was withheld. It was number one. They obfuscated the truth was another thing. They had spoliation where they had evidence and they wouldn't come forth with it. They structured it in such a way that when they went to trial, the district attorney only brought out the evidence that was convicting in nature, whereas the defense counsel, Grant Cooper, knew nothing about firearms evidence and didn't know how to handle it if he did know. And as a result, Sirhan got a very, very poor defense, and more or less was railroaded in our opinion.
Do you think then that whoever fired those other shots, whether it was a security guard or someone else, that they were working in concert with Sirhan? I mean, it would seem to be too much to be a coincidence.
We don't express any opinion about that because we don't know. Mm-hmm. And to say so would be wrong. Now, there are people out here who want a conspiracy around every rock, of course, and we don't agree with that. We do not denigrate those who are out there looking. They have a right to look, and they should look. But we do not advance any conspiracy theories because it's not necessary to our findings.
So all you're saying is, and I think the bottom line is, I guess, be careful when you get into these things. Don't jump to conclusions. Take the time you need to accurately assess what has happened, and then go from there. This was just, let's get it done, let's clear it, over. Is that it?
That's correct.
So this is a warning for everybody in forensic medicine and things of that sort, correct?
Yes.
Pay attention, take your time.
And don't overlook the obvious.
All right. Diane Prague, thank you very much.
Very interesting talking to you. There's a book that, if you'd like to know more about this, you can also go to their website to get a taste of it. The website is anopenandshutcase.com. The book is An Open and Shut Case, and it's by Joling and Van Prague.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.